Okay, with this video, we're going to go over some of the possible defenses for a DWI. How are we going to present this to the judge and what's our most likely outcome, that sort of thing. Now, in this video, I'm not going to give away all the trade secrets. That's for the clients that actually hire us and go into it. But we can give you an overview of what we're looking at, and then if we're going to take this thing to trial, how we're going to do it. Now, the first thing you keep in mind, it makes a hell of a lot of difference on which court we're in, depending on what strategy we're going to try. Some judges are real defense friendly, some are real prosecution friendly. And we have some that are just going to find you guilty no matter what you do. So sometimes you just have really bad luck just being in the wrong court with the wrong judge. And then sometimes you got lucky and you're with a judge where we might go ahead and take a shot here with it. But what we're going to look at first off, and it might sound silly, but was there evidence that you were driving? Most cases the cop saw it or the client admitted to it, when the cop showed up. But we have had cases that we won just because it didn't have any evidence that our client was driving. If we can get it out on that ground, then we can get it knocked out right there. We're going to be looking at evidence of what you looked like when you were driving from the dash cam video. We're going to be looking at the body cam video from the cop to see if they got the field sobriety test wrong. They get these things wrong all the time. Now, the eye test is it's the easiest one to show that they made a mistake. The walk and turn is the hardest to beat. And an example that I give people, if I put you in a straight line, like if you're standing on a parking lot stripe and you take 10 steps out and they're perfect, except your heel missed your toe just a little bit on one step, and then you come back just perfect, you failed the test. Because it only takes 2 misses to fail it, and you took 1 step too many if you went 10, and then if you missed heel to toe 1 time, that's a second miss, and that's a fail. The one leg stand is also the harder one for us to beat, and if you meet me, then you'll see me do this demonstration. If I just stand on one leg, I can do it all day long if you let me do it how I want to do it. But following the test, how you have to hold your foot and how you have to stand, I can't do it even when I'm perfectly sober. I start to tilt over. Because what I do, if you tell me to stand on one foot, I just bring my knee up. I do what's called the flamingo. But under the test, you've got to hold it out at a certain way with your toes pointed up. And even I can't do it even when I know what it is. But we're going to be looking for any mistakes there are on the field sobriety test. And what's our likelihood of beating it? If you took a breath test or if there was a blood draw or urine, we're going to be looking for the problems with that. Was the machine calibrated right? Was it certified properly? If we did blood or urine, did it follow the Department of Health regulations? And we've had plenty of cases where they came back where the client was well over the limit, but we were still able to win the case because there was problems with how it was done. Sometimes just how you look can be used as a defense. We might also have the rising BAC as a defense. And so this works if the test results came back and you're over the limit, but you're close. You're an 09, you're a 10, then we can argue that rising BAC. And what that is, if you take a drink right now, it's not going to immediately register. It takes a minute for it to process through your system. And so where the rising BAC comes into play is it says, all right, I was over the limit at the time I was in the station, but 40 minutes before that, when he pulled me over when I was driving, I was still under the legal limit. And there are certain cases where that works, certain cases where it can't. And then the big thing that we're going to look at is, can you testify? And there's plenty of cases that the client really was drunk or they really had 6 drinks and they're just not able to testify. Which is fine. Most of the time, my DWI clients do not testify, but other times they can. If they really weren't drinking, then they're able to testify, and it's going to be a better case for them. And if we can bring in other people to testify for you, that makes the case even stronger. And so, it's one thing for you to get up there and say, no, I hadn't had anything to drink. But if we get 3 of your friends up there and they say that they were hanging out with you for 6 hours before the stop and they never saw you have a drink, or they only saw you have 2 and you quit 2 hours before, that's going to make it a lot better for us. And it gives us a much better chance of winning the case if we go to trial. At a high level, that's the defensive structure that we're looking at. Each case is going to go on its own merit. We don't use all those arguments for every case. It's just going to depend on what's going to work best for you. Thanks.